Thank you all so much for coming to this big event. Well, it seems like the stars have aligned today. Not only is it my birthday, but it's also the premiere of Season 6, which is also technically the same day as the princess's birth. Yes, I know, we're very excited to get the festivities underway, but you gotta understand, today's technically a birth anniversary. And what better episode to review today than Pinkie Pride?
My little pony, my little pony.
No, it's so insensitive.
Aha! I knew it! Yeah! Oh, yes, thank you. Yes.
Yay.
Now, if you know me, you know that I'm not a big fan of Pinkie Pie. What? I'm not! Just give me a chance to explain. I greatly enjoy and appreciate what this character is supposed to stand for. She's a beacon in a sea of sadness, her grins and giggles lifting the spirits of ponies who've fallen into despair. Her entire life is devoted to making ponies and other creatures as happy as possible by throwing parties, doing favors, and taking care of her friends and family in their most desperate hour. This is easily represented in her element of harmony, the element of laughter. People need laughter to help clear away the low-hanging clouds and be able to find comfort in knowing that there's something out there that can help alleviate their stresses and worries. This is especially great for younger viewers who are more emotionally and psychologically susceptible to outside influences, and are going through rough times at school or at home. They need a little bit of laughter and love to keep striving onward into adolescence, and Pinkie is definitely their acolyte. However, my problem lies with her execution of said situations. Basically, how her personality and mood have been written in most episodes. Everyone reaches a point where they try to do their best to help someone or alleviate a situation, but their execution of their plans tends to add fuel to the fire or make the entire dilemma just explode. In various episodes written by various writers, Pinkie has mastered this craft without really even intending to. She's driven ponies to the point of tears, unintentionally shamed them in public settings, and even started a war. The worst offense she committed, in my opinion, is when she went with the Apple family to go visit Goldie Delicious. On multiple occasions, she butted into situations where her opinion wasn't called for, and made the family question their worth as a unit. I greatly respect the bonds the Apple family has for one another, especially after having two of their most beloved members taken away from them so tragically, and having to maintain emotional stability. To have a character that legions of people are saying is the best character come in and butt in and be obnoxious and even rude at some points just makes my blood boil. Granted, most of the time she sees the error of her ways and attempts to make amends, but the damage of the fandom's opinion of both her and the writers has already been dealt. Basically, my point is that when the writers tried too hard to make Pinkie try too hard, she as an icon of love and laughter, and we as an audience both suffer for it. For me though, this episode is a mixed bag of emotions. A character who I'd come to dislike is downtrodden because she feels left out of the party planning when a new pony comes to town, and literally every pony in Ponyville is instantly entranced by this guy. They even kind of insult her and her parties right when she's there.
I mean, Pinkie Pie's parties are fun and sweet and all, but now this party's gonna be...
Epic?
You said it!
Feel Judah!
No offense, Pinkie.
And Twilight Sparkle, the incredibly intelligent princess of friendship, is completely oblivious to Pinkie's despair, even though she comes right up to her and asks if she's okay. I won't lie when I say I did feel genuine pity for Pinkie as she slowly walked home in defeat, singing about how she loved to make ponies smile and even showing her mistakes and her understanding of said mistakes. But in typical Pinkie fashion, she rather quickly cheers herself up and heads off to face her rival in a goof-off, which leads to easily the best and favorite song in this musical episode, appropriately named The Goof-Off. Memorable lyrics, wonderful singing, hilarious visuals, and with Weird Al's wicked accordion skills, this song gets stuck in people's heads for weeks. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the other songs in this episode, which all ironically forward the story's plot. Worst of all, the song I mentioned earlier, Pinkie's Lament, is easily the prettiest and almost heartbreaking song in the episode, and yet it's nowhere near as popular as the Goof-Off. Look at the shading in these animations, listen to the epic crescendo right before the sudden mood shift. It's just too good! Hands down, this would easily be my favorite song in this entire episode if it weren't for the goof-off's wild hilarity. The moral at the end of the episode, while rather just suddenly thrown in, is a decent one enough. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, including myself, give in to their pride and try to do everything within their power to retain some sense of honor or good standing, only to have it blow up in their faces. Not to say those who've had that happen to them deserve it, but it's so easy to give into your emotions that you lose sight of what's most important at the end. I'm very glad that Pinkie Pie went through this particular situation at this time. It helped her to further understand her role as a bringer of joy. She learned that not every situation calls for her immediate involvement, and that in some cases it's best left to someone who's potentially more capable. Granted, they kinda threw that moral away immediately after and had her as a co-planner to cheese sandwiches and basically turned him into a color-changed Rule 60 Pinkie with a cheap backstory, but I digress. The philosopher St. Augustine said it best, I think. It was pride that changed angels into devils. It is humility that makes men as angels. Well, it's a bit extreme for this particular instance, but you get the idea. Whew, that was a doozy. Still, I'm glad I've gotten my thoughts out there now. Now, that that's out of the way, I think we all know what time it is. What, did you think I was gonna have a hoedown, hootenanny, hullabaloo, or some other party descriptor that starts with an H? Nope. I'm just gonna sit here, watch the season premiere, go on YouTube for a bit, then order Chinese. Thank you so much for watching, and...
Arrivederci!